We are now officially on the record. Hey Nathan, that looks far worse. You're backlit, but
that looks great.
But you get a C+ for effort. Oh wait, and so today, Kim and I are talking to Mr. Anonymous. Oh wait, your name and photo are just above your picture, so it's not really helpful.
Crap.
Yeah, unless you're logged into somebody else's account. So we are talking today about done for you coaching programs, coaching content, coaching templates, all to do with coaching and done for you stuff. That's the subject at hand. So nice try, Nathan. I don't think it worked too well, but maybe
I don't have a fancy backdrop like you people.
You can put a little effort into it and think about it. Did you guys see the studio tour that I threw in the Power of Reach Facebook group?
I did not see it. No.
Okay. So somebody recently asked me about my video setup and what camera I'm using here and all of that. And so I gave a tour of this room, which is at thepowerofreach.com inside our Facebook group. And so
check it out.
Make sure to check that out. Yeah, absolutely. So I have been working over the last few days on a promotion to my email list about an event, a 30-day challenge from fellow internet marketer and coach to coaches, online business coaches, right? So we'll qualify that. And she is running a 30-day challenge called Awesomization Nation. Now, neither of you know about this because you've very skillfully avoided joining my email list. However, because I've gotten you together here, I plotted to tell you about it. And so I want to share that with you, and I want to share it with you in the best way possible, which is our new toy here on... Oh, no, it's not going to... It says, heads up, drop-ins won't show in recordings or audio archives yet, but we're working on it. So just for those people who... Is this not going to show at all? That's what I want to know. For those people who are watching the recording version, you're not going to be able to see this. But I'm gonna throw the link over here. And in the meantime, you can indeed see what would awesome you do. So this is Nicole Dean, who I'm going to get to. She's actually integral to the subject matter at hand today. But Nicole is an online business person. She is a coach to online business owners, particularly entrepreneurs and particularly women entrepreneurs. She lives down in Florida, and so she runs a retreat every 6 months or something like that called Beachpreneurs. And she runs several done-for-you content websites. Well, this is an activity that she launched last year, this What Would Awesome You Do, when she spoke at the NAMS event, the Novice to Advanced Marketing System that I'm sure you guys have both heard me talk about in the past. And I got to hear her talk about this journey that this guy, who I think is a client of hers, he owns a piano training website, teaching people how to play the piano online, and that he decided to just make some changes in his life. He decided to lose a bunch of weight. He decided to change his habit of stopping by McDonald's on the way home and instead go to the grocery store and shop in the produce section. Big shocker, change for him. And he made some other sort of very just minor, for the most part, changes in his life. And he did this in order to juxtapose what he called average, what is his name? James, right? So average James, this was the story that Nicole was telling us, and become awesome James. And he went through this process of awesomizing himself. Anyway, Nicole got inspired by this idea, and she said, what if I could get, I have a huge list, I have a huge audience. What if I could get 1,000 people together and we would all spend the month of, last year it was April, this year it's going to be April as well, the month of April doing 3 awesome things a day. 1 awesome thing in our business, 1 awesome thing in life, and 1 awesome thing to change the world, to positively affect the world. Mm-hmm. And so she's doing this event, and she's sharing it with her people. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. So Nicole is an online marketer. She knows that the majority of the audience that she's trying to reach with this awesomization thing are prospective audience members for her other online properties, her other businesses, right? 2 of which are private label rights websites for website owners. So if you are in the business of nutrition or in the business of positive personal development things, or in the business of something else that would logically attract you to participate in an event like this, I think I'm pointing to the right box, this Awesomize Yourself event, and you have a website, well, Nicole has something that she probably could sell you. Content for your website. And if you're a coach, Nicole has something she probably could sell you. Content for your entire coaching business. Done for you content is a core of her business. So this event, while it's great, inspirational, I signed up for it. I paid my $10 to be a part of it, and I'm going to go through it, and it's going to help me. The back end of it is that Nicole is now broadening her list and is going to have more potential clients for her done-for-you content businesses, for which there's going to be a lot of crossover from the viral activity of this challenge, right? I tell people who get in for $10, they tell people who get in for $10. It's not a multi-level marketing kind of thing, but it's a viral, right? People want to feel good about themselves. You guys are in this business of helping people improve the aspects of their lives that they want to improve. This is a really smart strategic business move. And I wanted to share that with you because I wanted to introduce this concept. And this just happened to fall in my lap 2 or 3 days ago when she announced she was going to be doing this again. And I thought, well, who is like one of the best people in this industry of creating content for a specific niche market? And this was a great opportunity for me to share what she's doing and who she is and why people should know about her. So before we move on to all of the done for you content stuff that I am excited to share with you guys, what questions do you have about all this stuff that I just threw out there? Nothing. Whoa.
I don't have a lot of questions, and I guess the reason for that is everyone there's a lot of organizations, there's a lot of companies that develop coaching programs and templates for coaches around the world. And so, I mean, I guess it mostly just depends on what you're kind of looking for content wise. Yep. So if you can find the right content with someone who's selling it, it's a great thing to buy and to repurpose. I mean, we were kind of talking about that last time. Yeah. Maybe 2 times ago.
2 weeks ago.
Here last time. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I have to tell you that this whole thing of done for you materials, it's been such an evolution for me. I started as a coach 13 years ago, and I went into it with such a deep respect of coaching and of that coaching skill set, and feeling like one-on-one coaching was, it was just such an amazing thing to be able to help somebody process through something and change their lives. And this done for you content thing has kind of crept up as far as I can see. I've been affiliated with some of the giants, with some amazing guru types from the very beginning of my career. And I never saw that as done for you content.
Yeah.
But now I see it and I go, wow, that's done for you content that I've been doing from the very beginning, but just never taking advantage of it for myself, thinking that my offering was the coaching. And now I see that I have missed on so many levels using promoting other people's things, but not really benefiting from those things, except from the fact that I learned so much from them.
So there's a difference between promoting other people's stuff and leveraging all of the stuff that you have, right? So you guys both work in, I don't know the exact relationship, but in John Maxwell, I assume you've purchased a license in some respect by being part of that training program and getting access to the tools that they offer. Kim, you've worked with the Tony Robbins organization, and you had probably similar tools that were available to you, and maybe it sounds like you used it as great information for you, but you didn't take it and repurpose it in any way that it got any interface with your clients.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I used it. I used his stuff to help our clients move forward. But I didn't have a website where I had it posted and could earn income from it, from those things. I used them, my clients used them, but it wasn't like that.
So let me back up and just for people who are watching who may not have any idea of what this type of content might be. Let me talk a little bit about it, because I don't know what the content that either of you have in the arrangements that you have with John Maxwell, for example, what kind of stuff you have. But content is so many different things. It could be an email newsletter that you send out. That's content. Right. We'll talk about the done for you part in a minute. It could be a blog post or an article that you write somewhere online, whether it's on your website or on some other site. Kim, you do a lot of stuff on the LinkedIn Pulse, right? You put content out there on a regular basis. The other ways that content could be online is video. Infographics, images, could be ebooks that you create, slide presentations that you do in PowerPoint and upload to a site like SlideShare that LinkedIn owns now, so that people can happen upon and go, oh, this is really interesting. Go through a bunch of slides, and there's a call to action at the end to do what? To go to your website to sign up for your email or whatever it may be. So content is really a very, very important part of the way that people interact online. When you go to a search engine and you type in a question, most people, are what were some, without getting a little personal here, what were some of the most recent things you may have typed into Google, guys?
Well, just a few minutes, just before we started, I typed in done for you content.
Okay.
And I couldn't believe it. Just like pages and pages and pages of done for you content.
Yep.
Came up.
Yep. All right, so some of that was sales pages to actually sell you the Get Done For You content. Some of it was articles. I created a blog post not too long ago that talks about Done For You content. And again, remember, I'm an affiliate marketer, so I have relationships with specific Done For You content providers that I promote. But here was a piece of content that I put on my blog, A Coach's Guide to Done For You Programs, Templates, and Content. And when somebody clicks over there, they will see a brief article sort of explaining what this all is. This is content, and then links to a bunch of places where they can pick up content. So that is one piece of content that I'm using, right? It's a blog post. So the idea of creating content from scratch, right? You go into a WordPress website and you start typing on a blank slate, can be really overwhelming to people. And there's lots of ways to be effective at creating a blog post, for example, or shooting a video, for example. One of the ways to do this is to either take some other content that you have purchased a license to right. which you have purchased a license. Thank you. I hear my grandmother in my head telling me that I said that wrong. And just you can do anything with that. You can take it and slap it right into your blog post and upload it as if it was your own, and voila. Probably not a great way to go because it's usually kind of bland. It's not really fleshed out. It doesn't speak directly to your audience, to the situation that you're in. But you can take that content and go through and tweak it. Or you can take that content, let's say it's an article or a post, right? You can take that content and learn the content and then shoot a video where you're just telling, you're just riffing on the thing that you just read. The idea is that somebody else has invested in the time to structure all of this. You get access to use it, and then you make it your own. That's how it's used most effectively. Now, I've just talked about sort of free online content like images and articles and blog posts, but the same exact thing happens in the world of webinar content, live event training content, courses, and other things that you can charge for as well. And so being able to invest in a license to something so that you're not saying, okay, I'm going to be doing a training on team, success in teamwork. I don't know what you guys talk about, so I'm just, pulling words out of thin air here, right? But, that is a course or a series of lectures that somebody has created already. And the likelihood is that you have some very strong opinions and some areas that you want to emphasize as an expert in that area, right? That's what you do, Nathan. Mm-hmm. Okay. And taking your knowledge and the fact that somebody's already structured all of this can save you a heck of a lot of time. And most of these pieces of, sort of product content that you can license not only have the content, they also have the marketing stuff attached to it. So you have the tweets and the blog posts and the Facebook posts and the LinkedIn posts and images. And so it's a complete package that you can get, download, go through, change, and use to get people, signed up for the event and all of those things that you would need to do anyway. Yeah. Really amazing shortcut. And that's the idea behind all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, go ahead, Nathan.
No, go for it, Kim.
I was just going to say, I think that as a coach, though, I think the first hurdle that a coach needs to get over is, do I need to be the guru? Because when you get into coaching, what you'll find is with every coaching company, there's somebody who is the content person, somebody who creates all of that stuff. Yep. And when I first got involved in coaching, I was working for a company that coached in mortgage and real estate. And the man who was the guru was this man in San Diego named Todd Duncan. And he had what we called the box. He had the box. And the box was called High Trust Selling. Mm-hmm. And it was a series of a bunch of CDs. Remember, this is 13 years ago. It was a series of 13 or 14 CDs all about how to promote and sell in the mortgage industry. And it was like $900 for this box. And our coaching company actually backed this and helped people work through mm-hmm. this, because so many people have the want to do it, but they don't have the follow through. Yep. And coaching would help them with the follow through. Okay. And so that's where I started coaching at. And as I went through, I got involved with a coach named CJ Hayden. She had Get Clients Now and Get Hired Now, and, using her stuff, guiding people through the process. And now also with John Maxwell, he has so many amazing intellectual properties mm-hmm. and guiding people through that process. And so this world of done for you materials is something that I want to take advantage of, and that I have in a way but I haven't been taking advantage of it in the way that you don't go to my website and there's my free report and my 13-step process. And, those are the things that I want to do.
So in your industry, just like in mine, the idea is that you're going to attract a certain type of person who is going to see you and say, yep, Nathan, or yes, Kim is the right fit for me. I like their personality. I like, their approach to the way that they work, all of that. So even though you have licensed and have a relationship with these various people and their programs, they're buying you. They're paying you. The relationship is with you. And so it's an important part of just branding yourself. Mm-hmm. Now you can take all of that stuff and you can say, I'm representing the such and such, process or the such and such program, right? So John Maxwell team, that you're wearing your polo shirt with the logo all the time, Nathan, right? Mm-hmm. And you're identifying with that brand. Now that's a brand that makes a lot of sense to a lot of people because they know who he is because he's sold a lot of books. But these other people in these specialty areas, mortgage and real estate, right? That guy was probably not a household name in that industry. And maybe his process wasn't even a household name, something that people were aware of. So in that case, you were, Kim, the attraction, right? You were the one who was providing guidance and answers in that world. And it didn't matter that they had, Tom, is that his name? Todd. Okay. Todd's stuff. That didn't matter. There are many coaches out there, as you both know a lot better than I do, who are completely independent of all of this, that have not bought into a big name licensing program, that are not a Tony Robbins coach.
But the thing is though, and what I've seen over and over again is that when you have a business, you can do something very, very well. You can't do everything very, very well. And that's why these template businesses do so well. Because if you can, so like with Take Shape for Life, which is a health coaching business, if I'm assisting somebody who's having an issue, I can send them to the nutritionist with that. There's a nutritionist that's involved in that. And so the good part of those businesses is I don't need to be a nutritionist. I've already got the answers. They've already been figured out. I can just give those answers.
Yep. No, absolutely. And the question is in that situation, you have the materials. They know that they're taking part in the Take Shape for Life program, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But in many instances, there's, generic health coach, right? They don't have a program, or maybe they're not interested in promoting what they do as Take Shape for Life or whatever other program that might exist out there, right? They want to brand themselves. They don't want to brand the business. There are a lot of direct sales.
And there's very few that do it well. There really is.
Individuals or business. Yeah.
Individuals.
And the
individuals that I mean, I'll talk to them because I'm a business coach, and I'll say, okay, so how do you structure your pricing? How do you do that? Oh, well, I just want to help people. And, it's just trying to find one that actually does that and does it well and has it structured and in place, has their customer service down, has their marketing down, has their sales down, has their content down, has their, it's just almost impossible.
Yep. That is why what you just described is one of the reasons why I started working with coaches more than any other individual type of solo professional, is because coaches have the ability to have an extreme positive effect on people. And they you, right? You have the ability to help people do amazing positive things in their lives and in others' lives.
Mm-hmm.
And yet the success rate of coaches and the income of coaches, I'm talking across the spectrum, is so very low. And you're grinning, so I want to know what I said that's making you say, grin like that. But I started getting approached. I was working in the wine business. I was teaching wineries how to do all the stuff that I do online. And I started getting approached at networking events, one after another, by somebody who had been coaching. They were doing this for 8-9 months. They weren't finding any clients. They didn't know what to do. They needed to be on Facebook, but they didn't know what to do about that. They needed to put up a website, but they didn't know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And that is when I realized, if I keep getting approached by these people, clearly there's a need. And while I love wine and I still work in the wine industry, being able to work with people who are in the business of helping people makes me feel really good about myself and feel really good about what I can do. Because I don't want to be a coach. I don't want to be I don't have the capacity to do what you guys do, but I know my stuff really well. And that's one of the reasons I got involved here. I don't know why I went off in that tangent, but so helping people who are struggling to get a business off the ground so that they can help people is basically what we're talking about. With done for you stuff, it makes it a little bit easier to have a program in place to answer some of those questions that you were just talking about, Kim, that you ask people, like, what do you charge? What is the structure of your program? What do how do you bring people from point A to point B? How do you get them? What is the business model?
Well, I think the next level is going to be, it hasn't happened yet, but okay. So like with the John Maxwell team, we have all of this amazing intellectual property. Okay. And we have the full use of it. They give us the education and the coaching and the speaking and the training and the masterminds. If they really want to take it to the next level, they're going to give us those. The websites are going to have those make money while you sleep types of products embedded into the websites. I don't know why they're not on there now. Well, I guess we're just supposed to figure it out or something. I don't know.
I have some I have some insight.
I'm not trying to be a downer, but
I have a little bit of insight into that, simply because I know people who are in their social media world and who talk about the way that they operate as an organization. And it is one of the challenges, whether it's the John Maxwell organization or a franchise out there, right? So this is, similar business model, right? You're buying a license to follow their process. That at a certain point, they don't have the structure, the assets to give to their licensees or their franchisees or whoever has because they have focused on how to operate, how to run the business, the inner workings of the business, and not necessarily the building of the business. You guys both may know I used to own a franchise. I was actually a regional franchise developer. So I didn't only own the franchise, I was responsible for selling the franchise to other people. We went out of business really quickly. I stayed in business for just under 3 years. And the reason was because the franchisor had the entire business operations thing figured out completely. It really worked as a business operation. But as soon as we had to deal with client acquisition, getting customers to contact us and buy from us, they totally failed. They had one solution that only worked in one market, which was San Diego, which was the pilot market. And as soon as we brought it out across the country, we realized, we have a problem. Not every place is just like San Diego, and people don't have the same lifestyle and priorities, etc. And so the company failed. That's very, very typical in this world of licensing, is that the complete package is not always there.
Yeah, well.
so that
Seriously.
So that's where people like me can come into the picture and help, right?
And help. That's why, yeah. That's why we do need people like you.
Nathan, thank you for evening up the numbers once again. What do you have to offer to our conversation?
I love the idea of having pre-written content and all these different things. Like it's important as someone who is coming into an industry that they don't really know what they need to do. For me personally, I've purchased CD programs, and it's not necessarily for me to recreate them, because it's more on the lines of how do they structure it with their CDs, mm-hmm. and how can I do that with my own business?
Yeah.
Just recently, I saw that there was a program on having your own book. Mm-hmm. You could literally purchase the book. I think it was like $3,000 for the book, and everything's written for it. All you do is you send in a picture.
Uh-huh.
They put your name on the book,
yeah,
and you can retitle it if you want. And then all of a sudden, you've got a book. Now, it's getting to the point where it's kind of a little bit crazy, but if you look at it and you look at the process of how they set that up, mm-hmm. all of a sudden it becomes very intriguing. If you've never written a book, they'll give you maybe, I didn't purchase this book thing, but you could look at this and go, okay, well, how do they structure this? How do they write this book? Mm-hmm. And you could look at that and go, okay, well, this is what I need to do. And I think kind of to what you were saying with coaches, is a lot of coaches get into the industry, or really anyone gets in the industry, and they think they can do it all, kind of like what Kim was saying. And they try and do everything that they do for their clients for themselves.
Yeah.
And you can't see everything in your own business. I have never seen a graphic artist or an online, what would you say, like website builder. Mm-hmm. I've never gone to their websites and gone, wow, that's exactly them. Now, if they went to someone else and they had someone else design their website and go like, wow, that's exactly them. Because it's really hard to see yourself. It's hard to see yourself from the perspective that you need in order to be better in your business, whether that's sales, whether that's marketing. You have to get outside perspective. That's why it's interesting when you go and you talk with other coaches. If you're going to work with a coach, you should go up to them and ask them the question, do you have a coach? If the coach that you are going to hire doesn't have a coach, don't work with them, because evidently they don't believe in the power of coaching for their own business. It's just one of those things that you have to get outside perspective on these things.
Another thing that's coming to my mind is this pre-done stuff also extends to your business structure too. This thing came across my desk the other day, and it had your pre-coaching update. It had your forms that you fill out, your intake, your intake forms. It had your evaluation forms. It was like a coaching business package, that everything that a new coach would need to start a business. And I thought, man, if only I had that when I started out, because it was like such amazing stuff, but I already had developed it and I had already figured it out myself. So it's so nice that this stuff exists now. It would have saved so much time. I can't hear you.
You're dead in the water. Bart, great question. For me, I have generalized programs that kind of fit the gamut, but for the most part, when I come into working with people, and the biggest thing is you have to specialize with the people that you're working with. That cookie cutter approach doesn't work nowadays. You actually have to custom tailor everything that you have towards the audience that you're going towards, in my personal opinion. I don't offer a coaching program that fits everyone's need right off the bat, because not everyone needs the same exact thing. That's why you ask questions. What was the I'll have to remember this. Give me a moment and I'll think of this, but there's expectations. The biggest thing that I took away from this last week while I was at a bunch of training was setting the expectations. When you go and you're starting to work with someone, the first thing you need to do before you even get into anything is you ask, what is your expectation of me? Because the biggest problem with most people when it comes to business is we go and we say, oh, this is exactly what you need. This is what you are expecting. And we never ask the question, what are you expecting? So when it comes to programs and customizing programs, whether that's a workshop that you're doing, whether that's a coaching program that you're trying to do, you have to ask yourself, what are they expecting of you? And then you at least meet that expectation so that you can exceed it.
So I have a slightly different understanding of the question. It's probably the same understanding that you have. I'm going to just riff on it in a different direction. So the idea here is that if you have an established business, if you're already working on a process, that finding done for you stuff out there is really stuff that's going to support the process that you're already going through. Is that oh, we just lost Nathan now. So is that a reasonable, assumption, is that there's stuff out there that is going to help you be more articulate, is going to help you attract more of the right eyeballs online, because, maybe I just don't have time to blog. I don't have time to write an ebook to give away, or the knowledge of how to structure it. So I'm going to go find something that's done for me, go, okay, now I get it, take it, rework it to lend my voice to it, to have the content speak directly to the audience that my business is about, and then put it out there online. That's really the point behind effective use of this sort of done for you content. So it really isn't to remake it a business. Now, in the example, Kim, you just gave, where you had this product in a box to basically, or a business in a box, right? For somebody who is starting out brand new, well, very often brand new coaches don't quite have a sense of what direction they want to go in. And so maybe that's going to give them a little bit of guidance and a little bit of structure that they didn't otherwise already have. But for the most part, I would say that many coaches have a clear idea of what their ideal business looks like. Maybe they're not actually practicing it. Maybe just, like many of us, we're looking for anybody and everybody who we can get business from right now, but we'd really just like to work with this group. Well, finding ways to become more authoritative in that narrow area is really, really important, and done for you content can often be really helpful in getting you there a lot more quickly.
Yeah, I would
Good.
go with that.
I just pulled that out of somewhere, and I'm glad that I was convincing. So,
my business, my own personal business is called Summit Leadership Coaching, and I named it way back when, and I'm still coaching leadership to this day, because John Maxwell is the #1 leadership person in the world. So when I go into a company and I'm talking to them about everybody's a leader, they just don't all know it. And how are we what would happen to your company if everybody who is in it really stepped into the fullness of their leadership? I mean, that's a pretty mind-boggling thought. And they want the content that I have. They want that. And, you know, leadership is a very specific thing, but at the same time, leadership branches off into a lot of different areas too. I think ultimately when somebody's hiring a coach, what they're looking for is experience, they're looking for confidence, and they're looking for somebody who can see beyond just what people say. They're looking for that deep intuition that can help somebody in the process. There was a question before about what is the process, and I agree with what Nathan said. The process is going to be something different for every team depending on what they need. You know, some teams need to focus on communication. Some teams need to focus on work ethic. I mean, you know, it just depends. It just depends on what's going on. And then you work them through some very specific steps. You get absolute clarity on what it is that's going wrong and what the problem is. And, you know, that's the very beginning. That's the coaching piece of it. We're talking about the content though.
Well,
you know, the content is, you got to have quality content.
There's sort of two different aspects of coaching. And if you look at what ICF coaching, you know, is prescribes, it's basically, you know, talking about not being an expert in their business, but being an expert at guiding them through their process and keeping out of it. So just prompting them to keep moving forward, right? Well, that's one aspect of coaching, but there's an educational or training aspect to coaching as well, which is not really coaching as much as education and training. Yeah. And
they're like close cousins. They're like stepbrother and stepsister. I mean, it's like really, really, it's important. And I think that we're finally at a point in this industry where we're starting to embrace that and realize that if we're going to have a full business, if we're going to have a real business, we have to embrace that.
The idea is that content really has to do a few jobs, and most of the things that it does create authority, create awareness of who you are, value, but also a way that you can make money off of it. Right, that you can structure a business where you're not, so that done for you content might be really about teaching or about creating a framework for walking somebody through your process in an automated fashion. So Kim, you and I have talked about this, right? Having an automated version of what you might do with an individual for self-service coaching. It's not really self-service coaching, but by creating a program that somebody can discover online, find online, maybe they're not totally comfortable with calling you up and having phone conversations with you. They just want to do this thing. And, oh, thank goodness Kim also provides this option of doing it myself.
Well, I can't tell you how many times that I've been coaching somebody and they're talking about conflicts with their kids, you know, and then I talk to them about love languages and have you read the 5 love languages? And I pointed them to somebody else's content because it's great. And if it was your own impacting.
Yes. So, okay. So here's a
to be my own
example
content
of what you just talked about. I got asked recently to do a workshop on building websites, on the essential components of an effective website for a solo entrepreneur. And I thought, okay, I know this subject really well, but I have never presented on this. I've never, put together a PowerPoint on this subject. And my friend Sharon, who is a content creator, she's been doing this for Fortune 100 companies for their trainers, where she's been developing content for internally in her employer's operations for years and years and years. Well, she went out on her own several years ago, and she creates content for business information. One of the pieces of content she created was a course on the 5 essential components of any business's website. The 5 pages you must have, why you must have, which was basically what I was asked to present on. So what did I do? I went over to Sharon's site. I bought a license to that content. I downloaded it. I opened it up. I said, this is exactly what I want to talk about, but I wouldn't talk about that way. And I don't agree with this opinion on what she said here. So I reworked the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And now I have my presentation with my perspective, the way that I would, but I saved hours, and I probably have a better presentation as a result of it. Uh-huh. And I'm going to be charging for people to come to hear me talk on this subject. So it was an investment in a product, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you really show the importance of licensing. I mean, that's what a lot of people look at licensing and they go, "Oh, I'm going to get licensed in this, and then I'm going to teach it verbatim." And that's not the intention of licensing. The intention of licensing is you buy it, you rework it, you make it your own. Mm-hmm. You know, I became a consultant for personality insights. So I'm a DISC trainer. I can teach on DISC. I can do all kinds of workshops, but I don't teach exactly what they did in my training. I bring my own stuff. I have my own stories. There are things that I bring into it. I'm going to another training next month, and I will take things from that. But the trouble that a lot of people get into when it comes to buying content is they just buy the content and then they just spit it out. They don't work on it. You have to work on whatever it is that you're buying, and you have to make it your own, because otherwise it's purchase plagiarism is what it is.
It's not, because it's licensed, and that's
well, let me put it this way. Let me rewind. To me, you better know exactly what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. If I buy, I've got, I think I have around 370 blogs that I purchased. Great content and all that stuff. I would never copy and paste that and not read it and not understand it and not fully know it, because one day someone's going to come up to you and say, "Hey, I read your book that you wrote," mm-hmm. and they're going to ask you a question about what you wrote on page 79, and you're not going to have a clue what's on page 79 because you didn't write it. If
you wrote it, you have to go back and look at it because you're so prolific. How could you possibly? Yeah, it absolutely makes sense. You need to know what that content is and be behind it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And that's kind of the whole purpose of reworking it, repurposing it, making it your own, is that when you buy content, it's not solely just to take it and then throw it back out. Mm-hmm. It's to take it, work with it, internalize it, make it your own, put yourself into it. And similar to kind of similar, I can't even think of his name right now. Bart, similar to what Bart was asking, is you custom make the stuff that you purchase for your audience.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's exactly what you do.
I also use, and we are way over time. My apologies, but I'm just enjoying this conversation. So I'll wrap things up in a minute here. If
you can tell who's running this show today. Well, we're going at 3 hours. I think we could probably close.
There are 2 other webinars that are happening right now that started at the same time we did that I'm supposed to be on, and one of them I know they're going to go for like 3.5 or 4 hours, and so I know I can jump in later and not have to worry about it. I don't run shows like that. The point I wanted to make is one of the ways that I use my Done For You content, aside from taking it and reworking it, is supplementing my own content. So I'll give you an example. I have a couple of Udemy courses right now that focus on Facebook advertising. And I decided so I sell them on Udemy, but I also sell them through my own website. And on my own website, I bundle them together, two of my Udemy courses, bundle them together and add an additional thing that you can't get on Udemy. That additional thing is a piece of private label content, and it's basically a social advertising planning process. I bought the rights to this. I didn't change a thing. I just, like swapped out their logo for mine. But I agree totally with it. I don't have any issues with the way that it's structured. It supports my original content that I created in my courses, and it's an added bonus, an added value to encourage people to buy directly from me rather than buying over on Udemy because they can't get it there. That's a sort of strategic use of this kind of stuff, and I didn't change it at all except for changing the logo.
Yeah.
Is that plagiarism?
No.
Okay.
Plagiarism was the wrong word. It just came out. You know me, that I get excited and I just start saying crazy stuff. And
yeah.
Oh, look at that! You guys are both even again. I didn't even have to touch you. This is
thanks, Bart.
No, I'm not a C. The cautious calculated.
Let's see what we can do. It'll be a group effort.
No, it's good. No, I don't want it. Don't do it. Stop touching me. Jeez.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I think we have now probably come to the end of this conversation. Any additional thoughts on this? Certainly I appreciate and this content that we've all created now can go elsewhere, get repurposed, and I hope get shared with a broader community among all of us who are here and those who find it in the future. So, hey, thank you guys so much. I'm looking forward to next week's topic, which I think I just plugged into our Facebook group, but I completely forgot what it was. So we'll look forward to seeing you guys next Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific, here on whatever we decide to call our show, if we ever do come up with a name.
Probably not.
All righty. Have a great week.
Guys.
All right, see you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.